welcome back. Let's talk about performance evaluation section in the syllabus. Yet again, like budgeting, this was upgraded from PO to PM in the year 2010. Since then, the questions have been very straightforward, and there are a couple of questions which combine the performance evaluation section to transfer pricing. Transfer pricing could be used to transfer profits between one entity to the other, so as a result it could have a direct impact on the performance and the evaluation of performance of each and every company. Let's talk a little about performance evaluation. You will have to use and be very comfortable with three indicators: the ROCE, return on capital employed, the ROI, return on investment, and the RI, the residual income. The examiner can check your knowledge on these three areas and later on bring in transfer pricing and ask you how different transfer prices could change the ROCEs, the ROIs and the RIs of different divisions. So you'll have to answer accordingly. Let me take your knowledge into a kind of a slightly an advanced area on the ROCE calculation, which could be very useful for you to understand certain different divisional performances. I have a very interesting slide for you. Let's look at that. As you know, ROCE is a combination of asset turnover and the net profit, as you will see in the slide now. So I have a slide with net profit percentage as my x-axis and asset turnover as my y-axis. Let me mark a company or a division with this blue dot. What happens here? This company has very low net profit turnover but a very high asset turnover. And let me mark another dot here towards the latter part of the curve. What is the difference here? This company has a very high net profit turnover and a very low asset turnover. Net profit percentage, high net profit percentage and a very low asset turnover. Now funnily, I would like to take two examples here to explain the types of these companies. The blue dot, what you see at the top, are like Italian restaurants. As you know, when you go to an Italian restaurant, you go there to enjoy a nice meal. You go there and spend a lot of time in an Italian restaurant, maybe taste a nice wine and then enjoy a nice meal. But if you go to an Italian restaurant, you will see the number of tables patterned by guests are less, and each time a guest walks in to an Italian restaurant, he spends a lot of time in the restaurant. Maybe you will sell one table only once during this time. So your asset turnover, that means your revenue, is low compared to your assets. But the profitability, right, the profitability could be very high in this situation. So Italian restaurants are companies with very high profitability and very low net profit, very high net profit profitability and a very low asset turnover. What kind of Italian restaurants we will see in real life? Think of a technology company. Think of a company who is manufacturing very high-tech products in the market, which has a very high net profit percentage, but their revenues could be low. Now let's come to the other dot, which has a very low net profit margin. So your x-axis is very low, but a very high asset turnover. Now these are like Chinese restaurants. Now Chinese restaurants, as you see, people go there at a hurry to enjoy a quick meal and walk out. The same table is sold to what, 7-8 customer groups in the same night. Operates in a mighty hurry, and the turnovers are quite high, but the profit margins could be quite low. So we get Chinese restaurants, we get Italian restaurants in businesses. What kind of businesses do we have which similar to Chinese restaurants? This could be companies who are in FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, which does a lot of revenue but maybe at a very small profit. And both types of companies with a trade-off into asset turnover and profitability margins will earn the same profit. One company does a lot of turnover, low profit, same ROCE. The other company does a high NP, net profit percentage, but low turnover, same ROCE. So if the examiner asks you to improve the profitability of these companies, you need to think of strategies to push the curve up. Let's look at the slide again. See in the slide, now you have a curve which brings you the same profitability in both situations. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the curve up in the slide. See, the curve is pushed up. Now what are we doing here? Whilst maintaining the same asset turnover, I'm going to do more profit, or while maintaining the high profit margin, I'm going to do more asset turnover. So these are the strategies you must suggest to the examiner if you are to increase the ROCE concept. Then the similar concept could come in RI, where instead of dividing the capital employed, you charge a notional cost on capital employed multiplied by the cost of capital of the organization. So think of different variations into ROCE and RIs and be ready to suggest strategies to improve the ROCEs or RIs of organizations. Be it a Chinese restaurant, be it an Italian restaurant, both there could be possibilities to earn more profits. Then another interesting area the examiner could test you is the balance scorecard. There is a lot of criticism about the financial measures in trying to measure the overall performance of the organization. There have been a lot of companies who have done very well in the short-term financial results, but ultimately went down the drain because the fundamentals of the company not being correct. Balance scorecard introduced by Kaplan and Norton brought in a very interesting concept to this work. Kaplan and Norton argued that when you measure a company's performance, you should not only use financial performance, you should use 3 more perspectives to measure the performance of the company. Of course, finance being important, Kaplan and Norton endorsed finance and said finance has to be one perspective. But in addition, you have to have 3 more perspectives. They are customer perspective, how happy your customers are; internal business perspective, how strong your internal business processes are; innovation and learning perspective, how innovative you are as a company. Now let's look at the model of balance scorecard. I have a slide for you. See the 4 perspectives. Financial perspective is at the top, not to represent that it is important, but it has come to the top by coincidence. Maybe I am also a management accountant, so financial perspective has come to the top. Now look at Kaplan and Norton's arguments that internal business perspective, innovation, learning and customer perspectives also must be measured accordingly, and everything must be connected to the strategy of the company. Everything must be connected to the strategy of the company. If we have these perspectives properly measured and giving satisfactory results, and provided they are connected to the strategy, the company then can be called as an organization doing well. It will be important at the examination for you to display your knowledge in how to measure the performance in each and every perspective using simple examples. Now I will take an insurance company as an example. So think of an insurance company. What could be the financial perspective? How do you measure the financials of an insurance company? The traditional stuff like ROCE, ROI, RI you can check, which we are all comfortable since we are management accountants. Come to the customer perspective. How would the insurance company check how happy their customers are? We need a different set of performance measures like the renewal rate of insurance. If I have been using a car and if I have taken an insurance policy from an insurance company, when it comes to renewal, if I am happy with the existing company, I will renew it with the same organization. So how many policies are renewed, which reflects how happy the customers are. How many new policies customer bought during that period. Example, now let's say you have a motor policy from one insurance company and you are so happy about that company, you decided to have your fire policy also with the same insurance company. Maybe for your home or for your office, now a different policy is coming in. So what is the rate customers are buying other products from the same company? And you could do a survey to check the satisfaction levels of the customers. Likewise, you could have different examples how to measure the customer perspective. Let's go to internal business perspective. Let's see to what level the company has strong internal measures to strengthen the business. Example, let's say what mistakes have the company done in assessing insurance damage in the past 12 months. What errors they have made in their system, you can check. Likewise, think of few examples in different industries. Let's come to the last one, innovation and learning. How well the staff is trained in the organization.